on the WGBB 4th Annual Tony Awards show, and very happy and proud and honored to have with us on the phone Simon Saltzman. He was actually co-hosting the show last year, but he didn't really want to step out all the way to Long Island again this year, so we're just lucky enough to have him on the phone. He's the president of the Outer Critics Circle. He also writes for US 1 newspapers out of Princeton, New Jersey, and he's the New Jersey and also a New York theater critic for CurtainUp.com. Simon, welcome back to the Tony Show.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm sorry that I didn't feel like schlepping out to wherever you are in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, well, kind of nowhere-ish. Certainly far away from Midtown Manhattan where Broadway is. What did you think?
Broadway, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of the Broadway season as a whole?
I thought it was absolutely a wonderful season. If I had to choose, I would say it might be one of the top 10, but I'm going to include off-Broadway in that. I've never seen such a great season off-Broadway with new plays by young American playwrights. But let's stick to Broadway.
Sure.
I think it was a terrific season.
Great. Well, I happen to agree with you. I think it's one of the best seasons we've had in a long time. And speaking of great seasons, you've got one of the best categories right now to choose from.
Those are the easiest ones. I can't lose.
That's right, because they're all wonderful. First, we're going to tackle Best Actress in a Musical. And the nominees are, I'll read them off, Kerry Butler in Xanadu, Patti LuPone in Gypsy, Kelly O'Hara, South Pacific, Faith Prince in A Catered Affair, and Jenna Russell, Sunday in the Park with George. Good luck. What are your thoughts?
I know, but it's let's start with Kerry Butler. You know, we remember her, of course, fondly as she played Penny in Hairspray, and we knew she was destined to be a star. And of course, she is one in Xanadu. She's playing a goddess, and she's absolutely charming and delightful, and she skates well too.
Right.
That's what
she has to do everything all the other actresses do, but on roller skates. So
roller skates and backwards.
Yeah, right. Like Ginger Rogers. So, but okay.
I mean, she's. I don't know whether she's a hot contender, but she deserves to be in the category. She's an absolute delight.
Okay.
Now let's go right on to Patti LuPone and Gypsy, because let's be honest. Everybody that plays that role seems to get nominated. It's sort of a shoo-in.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if you play that role and if you don't get nominated, there's got to be something really wrong with you. I mean, I don't care whether it's from Ethel Merman to Angela Lansbury, Tyne Daly, Bernadette Peters. They didn't all hit the mark exactly, well, except for Ethel back when. Mm. But let's face it, it's the King Lear of musical theater.
So do you think that
Patty's absolutely brilliant?
Okay.
She is brilliant.
All right.
She may be the best, and I certainly think she might be the best since Ethel.
Wow.
No one can top Ethel. Let's put it that way. No one. Kelly O'Hara is absolutely wonderful. Now, is she another Mary Martin? She's very different and absolutely wonderful. It's the first time we've seen South Pacific on Broadway since it opened, in 1949, first Broadway revival. It's a gorgeous revival, and she's dynamite in it. She certainly will be memorable forever for those that didn't see Mary Martin. The funny thing about it is the first revival for South Pacific, but for Gypsy we seem to get that almost every other year.
Yeah. Weird that it's been 60 years since South Pacific's been on Broadway.
Well, everyone thought it was dated, but it turns out that it's not dated.
No.
That's what's so amazing. It's very, very topical and timely. But Kelly is probably Patty's biggest competition in that field, and it could be an upset. You never know, because everybody, what's happened in the past, everybody says, everybody else is going to vote for Patty, so let me just give a vote to Kelly. But let's move on to Faith Prince, because she's absolutely magnificent in an underappreciated musical, A Catered Affair. It's a very modest show. I'm really surprised that they even attempted to do it the way they did, or even do it at all, because some of us remember the movie with Betty Davis and Debbie Reynolds and it was Ernest Borgnine. It was a lovely, sweet little movie, but it doesn't have the stuff of real musical theater, unless it had a great score, and I don't think this has a great score, but it has a great leading lady. Faith Prince is poignant and touching. She gives a really beautiful, dramatic performance in it, and I think it's certainly it's great to see Faith have originating the role, because, she did a role that was made famous by Vivian Blaine and Guys and Dolls, and she took over Judy Holliday's role in Bells Are Ringing. It's wonderful that she's that, love that she would be brought back, in those revivals. But to see her, just originate a role is beautiful, and she really holds that stage.
And finally,
Jenna Russell is, again, for those of us that, it was very difficult for me, I have to tell you, watching the show, the first half hour, I couldn't hear anybody but Bernadette Peters.
Well, no, I have to say, when I heard Jenna Russell, I didn't hear Bernadette. She put all thoughts of Bernadette Peters out of my mind very quickly. If you were a Tony voter, who would you vote for, Patti LuPone or Kelly O'Hara, or who?
Oh, I would vote for Patti.
You would vote for Patti, okay. Simon Saltzman is the president of the Outer Critic Circle. Can you tell us in 50 words or less what the Outer Critic Circle is?
In 50 words, absolutely. The Outer Critic Circle consists of journalists that write about the Broadway theater outside the metropolitan area. That includes outlets in all across the country, internationally, outer space, cyberspace, and you name it.
Do you have any outer space members in OCC?
We do, but I'm under
they think they're on Earth, but they happen to be outer space mentally. I know a few of them.
No, we don't disclose the aliens amongst us.
That's fair. We've got to move on to Best Featured Actress.
Let's move on to Best Featured Actress. Okay.
In a musical, yeah.
I can't pronounce her right. Deidre Aziza. Am I saying that right?
In Passing Strange. Laura Benanti in Gypsy, Andrea Martin, Young Frankenstein, Olga Meredith in The Heights, and Loretta Abels Sayre, South Pacific. Simon, your thoughts, quickly.
Okay, quickly, I'll give you my thoughts on that one. Well, Ms. Aziza plays a whole bunch of different characters. That's always presents itself as a tour de force in Passing Strange. Frankly, I can't remember much about the show except holding my ears from the sound. It was, I think it's a young person's show.
Yeah.
I found it very annoying, mostly. But I think the music and lyrics are really quite exceptional. But I have found it hard to listen to because it actually was painful to sit through.
Wow. Okay.
But she was great. She was great playing a whole bunch of different annoying characters. Put it that way.
And Laura Benanti?
Laura Benanti, she's heaven,
yes.
Absolutely heaven. I mean, she reached stardom. I guess you could say in The Wedding Singer. Maybe it might not have been the best casting for her, but you knew that she was going to go on to better things.
She was also in 9 when they revived that. I mean, she was a star by the time of The Wedding Singer already.
But not. I think this is going to put her over the top now.
Yeah.
I think somebody's going to give her a show of her own. She's just marvelous, as in the title character, and a very poignant, very moving performance. She brings tears to your eyes, and brings to it the dramatic heft that role needs. And she's unsurpassed as far as a performance in musical theater.
Okay, Andrea Martin and Young Frankenstein.
Martin, you can't say her name without going.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
She's terrific as Frau Blocher, in Young Frankenstein, and it's a wonderful, wonderful role. It's a great comedy. I don't think she can be topped when it comes to playing comedy, and she does it brilliantly.
Yeah.
Olga Meredith, she's the old lady that wins the lottery in The Heights, and she's wonderful, and she gets to stop the show. Not everybody gets to stop the show these days, and she does with a wonderful performance and a song.
And finally, Loretta Abels Sayre in South Pacific.
Well, she's making her New York debut. She's already, she's a smash in Honolulu, as they say. She's a big star over there in the islands, but we're getting to see her for the very first time. She is very, very funny. She gets those of the words out with a plum.
She does Bali High.
She swears beautifully and she sings beautifully, and she's a delight, and she really makes her role in the show.
So, whom do you think Benanti will win in the category?
I think Benanti has it. I think it's a shoo-in for Laura.
And would you vote for her if you were a Tony voter?
would definitely vote for her.
Okay. Now, Simon Saltzman, we just have like a minute left. I want to get real quick your thoughts on the best play of the year and the best musical of the year on Broadway.
Well, you better give me the titles again.
Okay, nominated are August Osage County, Rock and Roll, The Seafarer.
You don't have to go any further. That's it. You can stop right there. That's the best play.
Rock and Roll? Or which? Rock and Roll or Seafarer? August Osage County. Okay, yeah. Because...
Hands down, that's got it sewed up, locked in, and that's what I would vote for.
And that's what you would vote for, too. And for Best Musical, Crybaby, In the Heights, Passing Strange, or Xanadu. Well, we know it's not, you wouldn't vote for Passing Strange, but what do you think will win, and what would you pick?
Well, I'd like to see In the Heights win. I think it's the best all-around show of them all. I'm sorry that, out of Critics Circle, we couldn't consider it because we gave it the best or the outstanding musical off-Broadway last season, so we couldn't consider it, which is a shame because to me it was the best musical of the year.
Wow.
And that would be my vote.
And do you think it would win? Or does Passing Strange maybe have
Passing Strange, I think there's a lot of politics behind that. I don't know how else to explain that. I think not a lot of people loved it, but there was I got the impression that there's a lot of pressure. I don't know whom and why, but I think there's a lot of pressure to push that over the top.
Simon Saltzman, thank you so much for being part of the Tony Show.
Good talking to you.
You too.